On that breaking news, the House just passing a short-term funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. And joining us now is Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire. She's the ranking member on the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thanks for joining us. This funding bill is headed your way to the Senate. House Speaker Johnson calls it a clean bill. Do you support it?
Well, we're going to have two votes this morning in the Senate. One is the CR that's coming over from the House. The other, which is the bill that I support, but it would also address the health care needs and keep the government open to the people of this country. It would extend those premium tax credits that are so critical to ensuring that people can afford health insurance. And at a time when costs are going up on everything from food to electricity, it's important that we ensure that people can afford their health insurance. So I hope we can, if neither of these bills pass, that we can come together, because it's in everyone's interest to keep the government open and to ensure that people can stay on their health insurance.
Realistically, though, we know Democrats and Republicans haven't been compromising. Are you willing to let the government shut down if you can't compromise?
Well, I don't think we're there yet. Hopefully, if we are not able to pass something today, saner heads will prevail, and we'll sit down and discuss how we get both of those things done. You know, I hear from my constituents in New Hampshire that what they want us to do in Washington is to work together. I think it's not helpful when President Trump says to the Republican majorities in the House and Senate, you shouldn't talk to Democrats. That's not how we address the problems that are facing this country. We need to work together. We need to sit down at the table. We need to negotiate. If we don't pass something today, we have several weeks before the government shuts down in order to come to an agreement to ensure that we both keep the government open and make sure that people can access their health care.
The end of the month will be here before we know it, especially with the Jewish holiday and the break that I know you all have next week. I want to turn now to the issue of free speech in America. The president suggesting the FCC could revoke licenses of TV broadcasters that give him bad publicity. Senator, do you think free speech is in danger in America?
I do. I'm very distressed. The kind of language that we've heard from the president and the actions that are being taken by the government right now are the kind of actions that we see from countries like Russia and China, like Hungary. You know, one of the basic tenets of the American Constitution is the freedom of expression, the right for people to say things even when we don't like them. And it's important for us to ensure that that freedom continues. And it's very distressing to see that the president is talking about using the levers of government to shut down free speech and free expression. And he's doing it by using potential mergers and business deals on the part of media companies to threaten them that if they don't take certain people off the air, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, that those business transactions are not going to go forward. I would hope that our Republican colleagues would stand up to this president on this issue, because it's a foundational element of a democracy to ensure that there is freedom of expression.
Well, so far, Republicans, for the most part, have been praising the Kimmel decision and sidestepping questions about free speech. Let's listen to what some of them are saying.
Yeah, people are getting fired. Like, free speech means the government shouldn't fully step in and say, hey, free speech doesn't mean you don't have consequences for your speech. You can't do this, right? But, and again, licensing is a different question.
Do I think it's good that Disney yanked a show? Yeah, I do, actually. That was their choice.
But using the power of the government to regulate speech. I mean, you guys were concerned about Biden doing some things like this, but this is even further.
Well, wait, this isn't the government, Mono. This is Disney.
Do you think comments from the FCC have in any way chilled freedom of speech? This doesn't take Jimmy Kimmel off air.
I think Jimmy Kimmel was taken off air because he's a unfunny activist.
This idea
did you have to talk to your family to prepare them for this movie?
I'm so glad you asked because, yes, at the tender age of 35, before I submitted the script, I did call my mom and ask for permission. I was like, am I allowed to do this? And for the first time ever, me and my mom had the talk. And we talked about sex, and and she was like, if you think it's fine, you should do it. And my mom helped on the movie, actually.
Wow.
She's the cultural consultant.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The talk at 35.
Yeah.
I love that.
I just figured it out, y'all. Just figured it out. Just recently figured it out.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Whoa. Okay.
There's some things. There's some things I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jen, save us.
The movie might have been helpful.
Are you feeling nervous?
Okay,
No, but just tell us about the process. So you wrote, I think you maybe took this on during the pandemic, or because like
Before,
what happened?
actually. Yes, I've been working on this for 7 years, actually. My longest, most toxic
But you waited
relationship.
7 years, but you waited years before you spoke to your mother about it.
I'm not crazy, absolutely. I until the last minute to make sure it was getting made first. Working on it for 7 years. I wrote it, and we were chasing the pandemic, then we were chasing the strikes, and I did submit the actual draft 40 minutes before the writer's strike. We shot it during the writer's strike, and so it was up against a lot of hurdles. It is an independently financed movie, and so it is my heart and soul and little baby, and people's support means a lot here.
It looks really fun.
It does, and I also think there's a moment here where there's a lot of talk about how comedies, like Hollywood's making fewer comedies, they seem to be doing not as much business in the box office for those that are made. I would think there's actually would be an appetite for, at least in this particular moment, for an escape.
But I completely agree, and I am so happy it's having a theatrical release for that reason. Watching movies like this with community, with other people laughing together, I do feel like it's medicinal, it's healing for the soul. Especially now, things are heavy. We deserve to laugh.
I mean, I'm all signed up. Yeah.
So we've got another clip from the film.
Let's do it.
Your character is called into the principal's office after parents complain about what she's been teaching their children in the aforementioned sex ed class. Let's watch.
They deserve to learn about anatomy here, but I am giving them a more comprehensive.
KIMMEL made a comment that really injured right wing supporters not long after one of Trump's close allies, the FCC, appeared on a conservative talk show. There he openly said that their plan was a pressure TV network into removing people. They conspired anonyms within just a few hours of that statement. KIMMEL's show was suddenly taken off the air. No one now. It was temporary or permanent, but the timing made the connection very clear. This raised a big issue even among some conservatives. They admitted that KIMMEL had simply been fired by his network. It might not technically be censorship because private companies do have the power to let employees go, but in this case it is not just the company acting on its own. It was the government through the FCC pushing the company to silence him. This is clear censorship, and it shows the network going down to government pressure. The reaction has been strong. Many people, including well-known voices, see this as crossing a dangerous line. Even conservatives who usually supported Trump are worried because if the government can silence one comedian, it could silence anyone, and In a show of solidarity, Jon Stewart returned for a special Thursday broadcast, even though he normally only posts on Mondays. The timing was no coincidence, it was a deliberate move to stand with KIMMEL and to make a public statement. That free speech should be defended. No matter who is being targeted. No matter being is no targeting.